Now we're going to talk about the ugly guys. These are the ones that have banned substances. Really going to primarily focus on one ingredient or two ingredients that are the most commonly known banned substances in products. That's usually DMAA, which we thought a lot of those products were taken off the market, but they're not, as well as synephrine. First, what makes a pre-workout supplement ugly? Well, very similar to the bad components, generic ingredients, proprietary blends, proprietary ingredients, uses stimulants to cover up for poor formulation. It's not third-party tested, but really the main thing that sets the bad from the ugly apart, or the ugly from the bad apart, is the ugly contains a banned substance or potentially harmful ingredient. So let's go through these products. First, pump fuel. Now, I just added this right before we launched this webinar series. And I had a parent. There's so many pre-workouts on the market, hundreds. It's impossible to really look at every single one and list them because there's just some that are not even in the supplement stores. A parent sent me a picture of this that his son was taking, bought it from a local supplement store and said, hey, can my son take this? And I said, no, he's 15 years old, and it's got 300 milligrams of caffeine per scoop, plus it's got synephrine. This is a pretty powerful stimulant when you're looking at a dietary supplement. I'm not going to break down all the other stuff like I did in the other ones, but I mean, as you can see, crealkaline, a lot of the same ingredients, citrulline, agmatine sulfate, beta-alanine. So it's actually got them in some of the higher dosages in some of the other products, but really circling those banned substances, bitter orange, which is also known as synephrine, or citrus aurantium. Those are commonly banned substances at the collegiate and professional level. Athletes will lose eligibility or they will not be playing in the games, for whether it's 4 games in professional football, 50 in Major League Baseball, etc. So this is a pretty commonly known product that you're going to see in supplement stores. Don't use it. Jacked up. I mean, obviously we see where they got their name from, but this has actually 1,3-dimethylamine, HCl. We'll talk about that towards the end of this presentation on what does the research say with DMAA, what happens with maybe some of the people that have died taking DMAA. So banned substance, this is an ugly product. You know, this again, another poor formulation, proprietary blend. As you can see, the same type of ingredients. This also has caffeine, so definitely a powerful stimulant. Problem with DMAA is really the side effects are similar to amphetamines. And obviously, some people like this. In the bodybuilding community, they like to get that type of feeling. They like to get that increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, increased blood flow. But from a young athlete, we'll talk about what are the challenges with these type of products if you take them. Again, Ignite. This is just a shady looking product. This is the best picture I could find on the internet of this product. You know, these are not products that you find in supplement stores. These are like really secondary market almost. It's really hard to find a label. As you can see, this is not a really attractive label. And it's just a big old proprietary blend of 7,000 milligrams of creatine, arginine. But when we really look at the bottom, phenethylamine and 1,3-dimethylamine, those are really ingredients that are both on the banned substance lists, and we want to be concerned about those. Definitely something not to take. Mesomorph, another popular product. This can be found in some supplement stores. I've had a lot of coaches and athletic trainers reach out to me about this. And if we look at the ingredients I'm concerned about, it's methylxanthine, and it's also geranium oil. Geranium oil is another derivative of DMAA. So this would cause a banned substance, or a banned. It has a banned substance. It would cause an illegal test, or a diluted, not a diluted, sorry guys, not a diluted test, but you would test positive. A positive test is what I'm looking for. So be careful. You know, this is not a product. Young athletes, college athletes, pro athletes, don't touch these type of products. Definitely something you don't want in your system. And again, another proprietary blend of a bunch of generic ingredients. Old Jack. So everybody, I say everybody, but a lot of these companies, they want to really copy off the original Jack 3D. You know, we saw Jacked Up, now we see Old Jack. And again, this is a pretty poor looking label, pretty poor looking picture of the product because that's all they had on the internet. And if you look at the sites, the websites that they sell these products on are really shady. They don't do a good job of designing the site, and it's kind of that black market almost. But as you can see, I circled the 1,3 DMAA product. Again, another proprietary blend, all the same ingredients, and pretty much these companies copy off each other, and they really just want the 1,3 in there. That's all they care about. White Lightning. So if you go back, the same company who made Mesomorph also makes White Lightning, and they were also on the FDA list. Geranium oil and also really standardized to 1,3. Again, if you look at this, this is really more of a fat loss product. They're not looking at this too much as a pre-workout because if you see, there's no creatine, there's no beta-alanine, there's no citrulline, there's no arginine. It's just caffeine and 1,3. So and it's also in a capsule bottle. So I wanted to put this anyway so you can see the product in case you saw it in the supplement store. Yellow Scorpion too, pretty popular online, more weight loss than anything else. This is a really popular product. Ephedra extract, kola nut extract, green tea extract, 1,3, theobromine, synephrine. I mean, this is probably one of the most powerful Yohimbe products. If you're looking at a stimulant, I'd be extremely cautious if someone got their hands on this because we just don't know the side effects. Typically, side effects for these type of products when you have this many stimulants are going to be fast heart rate, probably elevated blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, who knows, possible risk for stroke, maybe cardiac arrest. The danger lies when you combine this with intense exercise. That's where it runs the risk, especially in a hot environment. You know, in 2001 or 2002 when ephedra was legal, I think they had about 11 athletes die because they combined it. Number one, a lot of them were out of shape, deconditioned, overweight, taking weight loss products, and training in a hot environment. Not really basically a recipe for disaster. So again, don't take these products. It's not worth the risk of losing your life for maybe a few pounds, or if it's a pre-workout, a little more energy. This is the FDA's list. If you go to fda.gov and just search products with DMAA, it'll give you the entire list. I didn't want to spend 2 hours on this section just to go through a bunch of products. I decided just to show you some of the popular products. This is really a list that you can get off their website, and it'll kind of go through each product, each manufacturer or each distributor, and also the ingredient that came up positive from a banned substance. And these are all really just DMA-based products. So here's a case study. I couldn't get the full paper. Just shows running an unknown risk of marathon death associated with the use of 1,3-dimethylamine. It's in the Journal of Drug Testing and Analysis. And it really just looked at an individual who was taking a higher dose of DMA, did a marathon. Is that a good combination? Probably not. Do we know if that individual had any underlying conditions? I'm not sure. I haven't read the full paper, so that might be something to consider in looking at if you want to dig more into this information. But that's one thing I always question is, does someone maybe have an underlying condition? A lot of people use Jack 3D. One that had DMA. A lot of people who use products with DMA don't have any side effects, but that doesn't mean the initial or acute use of it is not going to, is going to cause any problems. Chronic use is what could lead to maybe further issues. Constant use of these products, high levels of DMA in the system on a repeated basis may be causing product problems, combined with regular intense exercise. Now, this is a prolonged exercise, so you're looking at someone probably 3 to 4 hours of training continuously. That's where the issue probably lied. Also, putting stress on the heart combined with DMA probably caused a problem. Here's cardiac arrest in a 21-year-old man after ingestion of 1,3 or DMA containing workout supplements. So again, they looked at the adverse effects reported include cardiac arrest, stroke, and death. These are popular products among a lot of individuals. Again, this is a case study. So what this doesn't really dig into is how healthy was the individual prior to. Did they have any stress echoes? Did they look at the size of the heart? Again, I'm not taking the side of DMA. I just want to ask questions. Was this a healthy individual, took the product, and boom, did it cause him to go into cardiac arrest? This really looks at the abuse. What levels, what causes the abuse if someone uses high levels. And I know the World Anti-Doping Association, they've looked at this in the military. They've banned it because of some of the issues they've had. They had a military cadet die after a run, and they found high doses of DMAA in his system. And what they looked at here is dose response studies of using DMA were performed with mice and looked at really mice in a conditioned state. And they looked at the stimulus that DMA provided, also to those mice and rats, to determine really what is the side effect, or what do they mimic in regards to, is it similar to cocaine? Is it similar to methamphetamine? And the conclusions found that the cocaine and methamphetamine-like discriminative stimulus effects and the conditioned place preference produced by DMA suggest that it has the potential for abuse. So they're really just looking at the abuse effect. Can someone abuse DMA because of its addictive-like compounds similar to methamphetamine and cocaine? And the answer seems to be yes, that they may want some further consideration when they're looking at this type of product. Here's a couple of case reports. They found some pretty high levels, really about 15 to 30 times, I think, the levels in the blood. But what was interesting is these were two young individuals that were exercising with high levels of DMMA in this system. The first individual experienced some leg cramps followed by a loss of consciousness while running in formation with his battalion for about 10 minutes. Then they found him pulseless. They tried CPR, transported via ambulance, and then they looked at his labs when he arrived to the hospital. Hypothermia, dry and hot skin, and then they found some renal insufficiency, metabolic acidosis, lactate and elevated cardiac enzymes and muscle enzymes. So the question is, what's the cause? Did they take too much? If they took a normal dose, would this happen? Did they have any underlying conditions? There's definitely some side effects if you take a high dose of DMA. What we don't know is are there any studies to show it's safe? And let's talk about that. Before we do, here's the final study that just really looks at the actually, this is a study by Richard Bloomer in his lab that really looks at what's the physiological and pharmacokinetic effects of 1,3 DMA in men. So what they did was they gave these individuals a dose of DMA. 8 men reported to the lab, gave them a single 25 milligram dose, and then they collect some blood samples before and through 24 hours post-ingestion, and really looked at resting heart rate, blood pressure, body temp. So what I wanted to highlight, and first go under the underline, the peak DMA concentration for all subjects was about 3 to 5 hours following ingestion. So it seems like it has a little bit of a slow release, but the peak levels in the blood are going to be within 3 to 5 hours, which is pretty similar across all subjects. Heart rate, blood pressure, body temp are largely unaffected by DMA treatment. So this is really the first data that looks at oral DMA ingestion. They found consistent pattern of increase across subjects with regard to peak DMMA concentration, with values approximately 30 to 15 times lower than those reported in the case study. So as we talked about, those case studies had extremely high levels. Did those individuals take 4 scoops and 6 scoops compared to a normal dose, maybe 25 milligrams? So I want to show you both sides, that a low dose, a single dose, 25 milligrams did not cause any side effects. That doesn't mean go run out and buy this stuff or try to find it online, because there's, it's still inconclusive that this should be a product that should be legal. Some people are going to argue with that. Some people are going to say this is totally safe based on this study. But show me 10 studies, show me 100 subjects, show me individuals training in a very hot environment, not the guy who's just going to go to the gym and lift weights for an hour. So those are my concerns with pre-workout supplements. The fact that when we look at young athletes, the thought is more is better. I spoke to a high school about 3 or 4 years ago, and the young man came up to me and said, "Hey, I took 8 scoops of Jack 3D before a powerlifting meet, and it felt like my heart was going to jump out my chest." 8 scoops. Here's a kid with that level in his blood that was equivalent to those probably that had cardiac arrest. That goes to show maybe it's only in individuals that may have a congenital condition where it's going to cause a side effect. Lucky this young man did not have any side effects. But it's that mentality that if I take more, I'm going to get stronger, and that's where things happen. 7 high school athletes have died this year, either due to heat exhaustion or poor tackling skills, broken neck. So obviously some of the things from the tackling is not related to this webinar, but when we look at things like heat exhaustion, are they taking a pre-workout? And that's just some things that I'm not aware of. Some kids, now most supplements, for the most part, you don't see a lot of individuals die, but there shouldn't be anyone die from a supplement. Young athletes are not familiar with the research. They ignore the side effects. So obviously the tingling, they're like, oh, I like this tingling feeling. It feels awesome. My whole head's tingling. Well, what if that could be dangerous? What if that means that maybe they're having a stroke? Could it lead to death? And in some cases we've seen, yeah, it could. So you have to be really careful. Again, stick with third-party testing. These products are not miracle products. As I talked about, you're not going to see a significant improvement in strength because you're taking these products unless it's well formulated. And as you saw with the good, there's not many that are. And even those products are probably not going to help you reach your goals. You have to do it with diet. You cannot out-supplement a bad diet with a few supplements. In some cases, things like creatine is going to help. But it's not going to make that much of a difference if you're not meeting your calorie goals. If you're eating 500 to 1,000 calories less than what you should, you're not going to see probably any muscle growth or strength whatsoever. If anything, you're going to lose weight and lose strength.
I'd love to get more feedback from you guys and get an idea of what you think about this section and what you thought about this section. If you have any ideas on other products that we may want to list, some products that you've come across, again, what products that you may be currently taking, if you have questions, be sure to send them to me. I'm happy to review and getting back in touch with you and talk about some of the products that you're taking. I hope you enjoyed this 4-part series of the pre-workout supplement webinar, The Good, Bad, and Ugly. And again, we're looking forward to sending you a lot more information in the future. So stay tuned from all the information we have coming to you at My Sports Dietitian.